everyone, it's Quan here. Just gonna do another video review that I got sent over by Jeremiah here. So I'm gonna watch him fight and his mom, Lady Avery, and see what we can learn from it. Sent me a few videos. We'll kind of work our way through at least a couple of them and see if we learn something.
Well, hello, my name is Genesis, and I will be fighting. Alright, so today we're going to be starting off with Sword and Board as our first bout. So we're just going to do like three fights, review, talk about what happened, and then do it again. Alright. Leon?
Okay. So first thing, we'll go with their stance. It's a good place to start. So with Jeremiah stance, he's sitting sword foot forward, which is nice. Avery, you might want to switch your feet there. You're kind of limiting your range, not having that sword foot forward. You're losing a good 6 to 12 inches, depending on how wide your shoulders are when you're doing that. And you don't want to have to get in that closer, especially with that smaller shield like that. The further out you can stay, the safer you're going to be. For you, Jeremiah, I'd flatten that shield. Because right now you have this nice little tabletop that's just leaving to open your gut for just a low stab. And you want to try to keep that covered. As well as move your hand instead of behind your sword there. This hand doesn't count. Just move it nice and flush and even. So it's nice and flat with it. This way you're not spending that half second to move it out and then strike at your opponent. But beyond that, that's pretty good.
Well, I only... No, you're plugged in.
Both using flats. It's not bad. Ooh. See, that's when you should have shot. So you did that step, and the first thing she did was move her shield like this. If you'd done the step and then immediately followed with that cross at a step, do nothing, and then crossed, it would have worked. Because right now all you did is you stepped in, you got in that danger zone where she can now swing at you, potentially get your leg, for you just to do nothing. So you never want to be in that danger zone where she can swing at you for very long, and by stopping you prolong that time for her to potentially do something if she decided to whack at your leg or something like that. So no, go in and pause, go in, do what you gotta do, and then get out as quickly as possible until you're ready for your next plan. It's like that, much better. Too much fancy.
Bounces sealed. Bounces... no.
Swap your legs there. You got a square stance. There you go.
She had like a tarp or something to block out the sun.
Two.
What?
It was good. Just stayed back. Played it safe.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, if you want to analyze it, yeah, because I'm probably going to say the game. So, what were some of your comments, Lady Avery?
When I got licked, still had a shield. When I got licked, still had a shield. Try to kind of hide behind the shield. Kind of kept it up.
Made it very hard for me to then get another hit on her.
Noticed that he had a kind of a pattern, trying to like fake out and then go try to get around my shield.
That's it. Okay, yeah, you were very predictable. She was right. You did the same thing over and over again, hoping it would work. Yeah, I'd mix it up a little bit. I'd have potentially gone out, right, faked over here. Once you move your gear, then slide back over. Because you can just pump fake over. She a little step, a little, and then the moment she moves your gear, she kind of straighten that arm and slap that shoulder. And you probably would have got her, especially with the shape of that shield now she was holding it. And with her fighting with her left hand, it would have been much more difficult to get that over there. But yeah. Let's watch another one. That wasn't too bad. Let's see what we got here. Was good. Tried one. Kept your guard
Now,
nice and
knowing
high.
what I'm looking for, you're gonna try and not give me the leg and the arm.
Yep, that is very true.
Ooh, that was dirty. That was did
Did I get any?
if you got to do all that movement just to get a shot, you're already making a mistake. You shouldn't have to force your shots. They should just sort of nicely fit in. Especially something that dangerous. Like, all she had to do, especially with your left hand, is just the basic, just chop to your body, and you would have died there because you were so turned over. You had your entire back exposed. Don't overthrow it like that. If you're wanting to still swing that way, you should have stepped in and then just thrown something like this, where you kind of go out, you step in, and then you swing it over. So everything's still nice and covered. It's a lot safer than going out like this and trying to force that angle that wasn't there. So you still tried to throw that same shot she got you with last time.
Yeah, like right here.
Alright.
Leg in, can you?
Don't ever force a shot. It's never your feel.
Yep.
Nicely done.
So, pretty good until the end, where she ended up exposing herself pretty hard. She had her shield pretty far off to the right, so I was able to get right on in there when she was lunging forward. When you're lunging forward, like as a legged person, you want to make sure that's a very fluid movement and to still keep your shield in front of you. So it'd be a little bit more like this. Yes, it looks very eccentric, but eccentric isn't always better, but in this case, yes.
Eccentric is never better. What? You always want to keep everything nice, even, calm, cool. Don't overdo it, because if you miss, you're dead. And it's not worth that 10% of it working great versus you dying. You want to make sure you got that 100% that you're not going to die from it. Even if your shot doesn't work, it's fine. As long as you're not, there's no way of you dying from throwing the shot, then you know it's a good shot. Something like that, there's a chance of you dying, so it's not a good shot to throw. One thing, though, because since she's left-handed, you want to make sure you're not crossing over. So you're not throwing these shots towards their shield. Almost all your shots versus a left-handed fighter, left versus right, is just these shots. It's a lot of wraps around, because that's where their shield isn't. And for them to move the shield, they got their arm in the way, so it's a much higher chance you're actually hitting something. So you maybe fake a little to the left to get them to move their shield, and then you just throw the shots over to their sword side. So there isn't any of this crossing over, which exposes your arm and a lot more dangerous stuff, which isn't worth it, because the moment you cross over, they just go chop, and you're dead, right on your shoulder. So throwing a dive like that isn't safe at all. Plus, versus a lefty, it's not something you're going to ever want to do. When I fight lefties, I very rarely, if ever, shoot towards their right side. All my shots stay towards their sword side. And then I position myself where I'm like at a step just a little bit to the right there. So this way all their straight shots will now be like right towards the middle where my shield is. So I have all this extra room versus kind of having to always move it here. I don't have to move it quite as much, and that gives me that bigger angle to hit their left side.
Any comments from you? Alright.
Man, these are short. Let's see.
Should always be in front of you.
Single sword.
Yeah?
Okay. Alright. Let's go back.
Should always be in front of
Let's
you.
look at this stance here.
Yeah?
Okay. So far, winning the stance war is Lady Avery. Your arm, her stance is almost perfect. I'd maybe bend the knee just a little bit, get that back leg out, just a little more wider stance. Jeremiah, your arm is too far straight. Like you've already given any sort of fakes you'd want to do. You can't really do. You're kind of forcing to do it with your sword, which isn't ideal. When you're single, it's a lot of fakes with the arm. Your arm's kind of moving out. When your arm's already full extension, you've given your max range, so they know where they gotta stand, and two, you can't really do any fakes unless you want to bring it back, which isn't really a fake. It's just like, oh, they can prep for something. What's he gonna do? Won't you go in? Versus if you go in, now they feel they have to do something, which can get you that opening to get the shot. So just kind of cut that arm in a little bit. You don't need that much of an angle. Just something like that will do just fine. But you don't want it straight out. Just a little hook to get there. Keep those shots.
Come here.
Bad son.
Yeah, because you had to go in and then
I
shoot the
can
shot
tell.
back out. So you added a good half second to your swing there.
You didn't even touch when I got your arm.
Nope.
Cover fast. There you go.
Yep.
I know you probably felt that you hit something, but I was
Yeah,
just
I
letting
know.
you know this
Yep.
is what you hit. That's my arm. So I've got to drop, pick it up.
Written by the face.
Dad.
Always keep a decent grip on your sword. So it's still recording? Yep, it's still recording.
Okay, that wasn't too bad. Lady Avery, you want to move your feet a lot more. You kind of stood there and kind of let him move in and out of range and do what he wanted to do. You could control that fight a little bit better if you'd moved your feet a little more. Kind of force him to walk around since you knew what his max range was. If you can get him to step in and do stuff, you can easily start sniping at his arm, which is sitting out there for you. Because movement is key in single sword. It's single sword when you're fighting it. It's a lot of in and out of range, trying to get them to go in the danger zone in order to control that fight with your feet. Let's do another one.
There you go. Single sword combat.
Hey, a lot better. Shoulders a little square. Kind of stand a little more sideways. That was pretty. Let's watch that again, because that was nice. Yeah, she didn't even have to do much for that shot. She just kind of stuck her arm out there, kind of waited, and then just tapped it up. The moment he did his over movement there. That was just a good little flick of the wrist just to tap that arm. feet there. Back foot moves forward.
Okay.
Do you see my hand go to like catch it behind my back?
That
Do you
was-
see my
that
fingers
would
like
have been-
flying? It was like a knee-jerk reaction. They were like, grab it.
Honestly, I thought your hand was pretty close to getting it. I thought. There was bag or anything. Wait,
You hit the sword out of my hands. I guess in most fights you would have been killed.
I didn't follow up, did I?
No, you didn't.
Follow up.
You're like, oh.
Continue. Right, then yeah, continue, I guess.
You had great honor. You did an attack in unarmed forces.
Follow up. Leon?
Ooh, that was nice. Just a little fake up top. Get him to move his guard up there and then slide it in. Perfect. Did she even step before he did it? I think that was, yeah. Slow this down a little bit. Not that far. Yeah. Moving a little. Yep. Faked it up. And then she stepped in for the shot. So it wasn't a step in there. That was super clean. Bite, there's the fake, and when she's ready to swing, then she goes to the danger zone. That was perfect. Yeah, because when you're throwing fakes, you don't throw your fake when you're in range and hit you, because often your fake will leave something open that they can snipe at. So you throw your fake, like over here, and then once they do the movement, then you step in and you try for the shot. But you don't want to try that fake when you're in and have them accidentally like hit your elbow or something like that.
Again.
Did it again.
Alright, Leon?
Not quite as clean. She stepped in before that one.
You really want some critiquing in how to fight without the shield lost.
I do. I'm trying this fancy move basically. But basically going like this.
Because
That only works
when
with the
you
shield.
do that, look at how
It doesn't
wide
even
your
work with the
arms
shield.
are.
Like that's just, this is bad.
Not working. The knee pads in the shield. Loves the shield.
Move your feet more. Left and right, back and forth. Both of you are standing there a lot. There we go. Nicely done. Counter Jeremiah.
I know I flipped you at least 3 times.
She won there because you just let her just keep swinging at you. You want to make sure you're not just letting them control the fight and just be the one constantly swinging, because if you never swing, you're never going to win. So you want to make sure you block, then throw something, and block, and throw another shot at her to keep her from doing what she wants to do. Even if you don't hit her, that at least forces her to stop swinging at you to block something, so you can try to reset the fight and then regain control. But there you were backpedaling, which is slower than her moving forward, because you can run forward faster than someone can run backwards. And then she just kept swinging at you till eventually she hit you. So you want to, at that point, you want to start like walking to the left, to the right, try to re-rotate her, and then also throwing your own counter shots in. So block it, throw a shot towards her arm, block it, throw another shot towards her arm. Just go to keep that up until you either hit the arm, or she just goes back and pauses the fight, which gives you the chance to reset and try something.
Alright, that's 5. 4 to 1.
Ouch.
Not bad. Really good with the stabs there, Lady Avery. Because it's a whole lot quicker than the swings and all your shots, Jeremiah. Because she was just doing these quick little, just her sword was out there, and she'd stab at you. Her sword out there, stab at you. You would sit here with your sword, and then bring it back for this big telegraphed swing that she was able to easily block and get away from. But if you'd had your sword out there, and just did what she was doing, just for the stabbing, or even for slicing, right? Just don't bring it back to cut it. Just go from here and then straight out. That would have been a lot better for you than having these big telegraph shots, which take a mile and a half just to actually complete, versus this little 10-inch just and you're there.
You could use a class on the shield, sword only.
I really could.
Okay.
Plus you have a bat. You were using your bat as if you had a flat weapon there. So you can do a lot of these just easy slaps too, which are really safe too. You can just kind of go and just sort of slap it in there, which if you're lucky, you'll hit like right here. You might hit the hand too. You get hand in the arm. Great. Here, you got their arm. Versus you don't have to cut that angle, which what you were doing, which also slows it down. Versus just a little flat backhand. But not bad. Yeah, move your feet more, Lady Avery. Definitely want to try to move around them. Just sort of stand there. I like your static guard because you know where it's at. But so if you add that with moving to your feet, you can actually fight that way really effectively. To where you don't move anything much. You kind of have these basic shots you throw. But if you use your feet to keep yourself out of range and to get those angles, that works perfectly. And for you, Jeremiah, again, move your feet. Use a little bit. You did a little better, kind of moving back and forth. But you're still going to want to move your feet more, as well as get rid of these wide swings you're doing. Just keep it here and just keep it nice and simple, just like your mom does. Simple, and you can still throw all the same shots. It's just a lot quicker than going out and around and in. And these humongous, like, I gotta put all this power on it when really you don't need power. You just need speed. This is a game of speed, not a game of power. You just gotta hit them. Doesn't matter how hard you hit them, just as long as you touch them. So get speed, cut all these 3-second swings where you're going out and around, just a little half second, and you're there. But pretty good fights.